It'll take a few minutes for people to come in. So, hi.
Mm.
Okay, we are live. We are live on Facebook. We're live on 8 different platforms on Facebook, and we're also live on YouTube.
Well, wonderful.
I
Hi,
know,
everybody.
I know, it's kind of cool. Once you join us, go ahead and say hi in the chat so we know that you're here and that we're coming through okay. And I am with the fabulous Dr. Shamini Jain today. And Dr. Shamini is a psychologist, scientist, and social entrepreneur. She is the founder and CEO of the Consciousness and Healing Initiative, which is a nonprofit collaborative accelerator that connects scientists, health practitioners, educators, and artists to help lead humanity to heal ourselves. She's done award-winning research and presentations on healing topics for over 20 years. She's been featured in Time, CNN, Good Day LA, as well as several documentaries, and her 2-time award-winning book by Sounds True, Healing Ourselves, Biofield Science and the Future of Health, is now available everywhere. So make sure and pick up that book. All right, we've got Roz here. Hi, Roz. And I'm so excited to have you with us, Dr. Shamini. So welcome. We're going to have a
Thank
really
you.
good conversation today.
Thank you.
And okay, one of the most fascinating, that I think is one of the most fascinating things, is that Dr. Shamini's research has been in the field of psychoneuroimmunology. And it took me like 10 times to really pronounce that correctly, but it is such a fascinating field and so needed right now. And so let's maybe start off a little bit about psychoneuroimmunology.
It's great. It's such a big word, right? It's a mouthful for sure. And what's amazing is like 50 years ago, the word really didn't even exist because there was still so much discussion about essentially whether the non-physical could affect the physical. And
Right.
here we were talking about things like emotions and our mental state. So I just want people to remember how far we've progressed, that, 50 or 60 years ago, if I said your emotions affected your health, everyone would have thought I was nuts. But it's actually mainstream science at this point, and it's paving the way for all kinds of ways that we learn how our practice can affect our mental, emotional, physical, and social health. And now we're taking it, with the work that I do and our nonprofit does, the Consciousness and Healing Initiative. We're really exploring all these aspects of healing, even the energetic, in what we call biofield science, which, Liz, as it turns out, isn't new either, right? Because a lot of these things that we're discovering in Western science, using our empirical tools, doing good, careful research, ancient traditions have known for millennia, and it's been part of spiritual practices all over the globe. Things like meditation and yoga, and even the way we breathe and what we eat in our environment, were always part of what we called whole person health. And
Mhm.
so it's so great that we're using these tools of psychoneuroimmunology to kind of decode all of the pathways and the ways that our emotions and our energy can affect us physically. It's really cool because now we can be even more precise in some ways about saying, okay, I see what's going on with you and where your state of balance or imbalance is. And now I can suggest some things that I think will really help to bring you back into balance. And I can even look at your epigenetic relationship to your practices. So that's really fun, right? We
Oh,
all
that is so cool. That is so cool. And I just want to acknowledge we've got Mohammed, Muse, Hassan here, and Raz and Bill. So hi, everybody. If you're here joining us, please say good morning. We're here acknowledging you. And no, this works for everyone, Mohammed. So this works for everyone. This is not exclusive to a certain, faith or race or religion. This is for
right.
everyone. So I'm interested in what you've seen with your practice and with your students. What have you seen? Like, can you give us an example of someone who's been super stressed or having all kinds of physical symptoms and then started doing different practices and how their bodies and how their life has changed.
Yeah.
I'm really curious about that.
Liz, I'm going to tell you, first of all, it's more instantaneous than we think. Now, ongoing practice is important, and it really helps to reset the balance in our nervous system as well as in our mind. But I have seen effects on things like reducing pain happen literally within a few minutes doing the practices that we do. And a lot of them involve sound making, and maybe we can get into that, kind of the ancient and modern understanding of sound. But one of the things that we know from the ancient traditions is that sound itself is essentially consciousness. And when we work consciously with sound and with breath, and this doesn't have to necessarily be mantra or devoted to a particular religious ideology, it can even just be making sounds with vowels and consonants in a really organic way. I have had now several times in my workshops, students come up to me and say, my pain is gone. Just like that. And they think it's magic, but it's not. Because it's beautiful. It's magical in that, yes, we're all magical beings. It's amazing. But there's actually science behind it. Because when we come into community and connect our biofields and we engage in collective practices, including collective sound making practices, which can be so powerful, we're amplifying a field of consciousness and moving our physiology. So let's just speak really plainly on the physiological level, the stuff that isn't even controversial.
Okay.
When we make sound, we're taking breaths. We're often, when I teach this, of course, we're moving into taking nice deep breaths in the body.
I'm so aware of my breathing now. I'm like,
right? So let's just take a moment. Let's just make this really real for us right now and just come into connection with the breath. And there's no right or wrong way to breathe. Just come into contact with it first and see where you notice it. Wherever it is, maybe you feel it more outside the body, maybe you feel it in the heart or the gut or in the throat. Just notice where your energy is as you breathe. And now when we do these sound making practices, I encourage people to remember that connecting with the lower body is really powerful. The more grounded we can be with our energy and our awareness, the more powerful the breath can be, the deeper and longer the breath can be. So let's just take a moment and place our awareness around the belly and even below the belly and the hips and the tailbone. And really breathe into those areas, like feel the breath really touching into the sit bones. And I like to encourage all of us who we are all carrying a load of stress these days in our lives and witnessing what's going on around the world. So when we take these breaths, that's exactly right. Just make some sound, some nice releasing sound. I just like to do sometimes a nice and a nice exhale. So we just do this a few times and, you guys, we can't hear you. So make as loud of a sound as you want, right? And Liz, you as well. Sometimes you just got to let go. This releasing sound, taking that releasing sound from the belly, down the legs, into the earth is actually really powerful for releasing stagnant energy that we may have been holding on to. So I'll demonstrate taking a nice breath in the belly, and then just grounding out the sound with my breath.
oh, wow. I like that. There's something, I really let myself do that and I could feel the vibration right up in my shoulders and
all of it, right?
nice.
And so we're working with Apana Vayu in the yoga tradition when we're bringing the sound and the energy down the body. It's the eliminative force of prana, right? So we know prana as life force energy. And in yoga, we understand that it's not just one kind of prana. There are actually many different vayus or flows of energy in the body. So when we direct our energy and our breath to flow down the body, taking these nice deep breaths and long exhales, one of the things we're doing with the long exhale is we're stimulating the vagus nerve. That's the biggest cranial nerve in our body. It's the captain of our rest and digest aspect of our nervous system. So it literally allows the body to rest and digest. So Apana Vayu is connected to this because it's literally about digesting food, but also our emotions and
Mm.
releasing what doesn't serve us out of the body into the earth. So believe it or not, these are the kinds of practices that I had my students do in these workshops that I was mentioning. We just did these a few times, and I've had several people come to me and say, I've had chronic pain in my ankle for over a year, and I've tried everything, and I don't know what just happened, but I literally just did this practice with you, and my pain is gone. And I've heard this, Liz, more than once, several times. So it's really attesting to the power of practice.
Mhm.
And you will notice this even when you do it alone in your room. You don't have to necessarily be in a community. But when we're in a community, we're creating a coherent field. And it just sustains and nurtures our field so that we can really come into our own grounded power in this way. And so, Liz, I would say that's the first step toward harmony is coming back into our body, feeling really embodied and grounded. And for me, I think using sound and breath, which is part of the tantric approach, but again, that's universal. It's not tied to a particular religious ideology. It's your sound, it's your breath. So that's step one.
Wow. This is the second time that we've had a Facebook Live conversation. This is the second time that you've done this exercise. And the first time, if you remember, I started crying and I couldn't, it was like embarrassing. I'm trying to speak with you and I started crying. And I just had that same reaction
Yeah.
again when we did that breath, that emotional, like I just wanted to cry. And I kept thinking, okay, no, I can't do that right now.
Well, we must. This is part of the power of the releasing force. And look, from a chakra perspective, what are we working with strongly here? The first three chakras, Muladhara chakra, the root, Svadhisthana chakra, which literally means one's own abode. It's your sweet spot, and it's also the source of your first feeling. So you're tapping into your feelings, so you're activating those. And then importantly, the solar plexus, your sense of agency and will. So you're coming into your own emotional resonance and power and saying, I don't have to be a slave to my feelings. I don't have to avoid them. I want to face them and I want to allow them to move because I don't have to keep holding on to them. What is that? From the psychoneuroimmunology perspective, Liz, if we don't allow ourselves to feel and express our emotions, they create inflammation in the body. Nobody wants that, right? We live in an inflammatory world. We take in inflammation. We're taking in hatred and violence and pain and suffering. And that creates inflammation in our own bodies because we're all connected. On the neuroscience level, we know that witnessing the pain of someone that we love will cause us to feel pain as well.
Right.
This
Right.
is very true. It's not just for empaths. We all feel it. It's just that empaths are more aware of the feeling. So I just want to congratulate you and thank you for being brave enough to say, when we do these things, I feel really emotional
Yeah. Because
because
I wonder if it's because I'm allowing myself to come down because I mean, you've
yeah,
seen me several times in meetings and conversations and I'm like,
yeah,
so when we do this,
yeah,
it's like my adrenals have a place to sort of go, okay, let's slow it down.
mm,
Let's slow down and come into my body. And that feels like a relief. It
yes,
feels like such a relief.
yes, because we're getting energy too. So we're releasing energy, but by being grounded, we're connecting with the great Mother Earth who is holding us in tenderness so that we can let go of our emotions into a wider biofield, right? We can actually be held for a moment. Liz, I totally resonate with you. And I think this is most of us. We end up into crazy doing, partly because we're real passionate and we love what we do.
Right.
But sometimes it's also a bypass. It's saying, I don't want to feel what I'm feeling right now. So I'm just going to move into doing something and getting really busy because then I don't have to think about the world. And that's coping, right? That's can be an effective coping strategy, distract ourselves, do stuff we love. Like that's not terrible. But if we're avoiding coming into our bodies, then we're running the risk of falling out of harmony, right? Out of balance. And that can sometimes cause dis-ease. So dis-ease in the body as well as the mind. So allowing ourselves to ground, and I'll tell you, Liz, one of my favorite practices is being barefoot in the earth. Lately, right before it got a little more chilly here in the Carolinas, I have been barefoot hiking, barefoot walking, and I'm actually surprised that people don't do it more. But I had several people on the trail being like, "Oh, you're really brave," and I'm like, I don't feel brave. I mean, I'm sensible about where I think I can hike barefoot and try to pick trails accordingly. But there's so many benefits to this. On the bioenergetic level, we're grounding into a larger field and consciously and energetically remembering that we're a part of this great, big, beautiful earth, and she nurtures and supports us. So with every barefoot step I take on the earth, I'm psychologically reminded of that, but I'm literally subtly and physically reminded of that as well. And so I can walk on her with more tenderness, with more connection, and you can feel that connection energetically. The studies have already shown us, mainstream published peer-reviewed studies have shown us that grounding energetically can reduce inflammation in the body, can regulate hormones like cortisol, can improve our mood and reduce our anxiety, reduce pain, and even help us sleep better. Why? Because we're more connected. We're more connected with the field of the earth. And so, yet another beautiful, low cost, easy way. Be barefoot. Don't wear rubber soled shoes, just even for an hour a day if you can.
Yeah,
Right?
oh, I always am going without my shoes, but hiking here in the desert would be tricky.
Oh,
Barefoot.
yeah. And that kind of thing.
Barefoot, exactly. But
Yeah.
in the forest, it sounds so dreamy.
Mm.
It sounds
Yeah.
so dreamy being on a dirt path, and that's why I like to garden, to get my hands in the dirt, and I love the smell of the dirt. Yeah,
Yeah.
for those of you that are just joining, and I see quite a few of you have just joined us, we are talking to Dr. Shamini Jain, and Dr. Shamini Jain's area of expertise is psychoneuroimmunology and talking about the biofield energy, and it's just so thrilling to talk to you, and I know that I just wanna just share with all of you very quickly that we are going to be doing a live event. If this resonates for you, if this conversation resonates for you, if you love having these sort of collaborative experiential experiences and conversations, just want to share with you, and I'll go ahead and share the website right now. We are doing a live event with Dr. Shamini, Bruce Lipton, Anita Morjani, and Greg Braden in January, on January 26th through the 29th in Scottsdale. That's where I live, everyone. So we're going to do it here. It is going to be an extraordinarily powerful 4 days of healing, of understanding the science behind how spirituality, consciousness, and programming interface. Genes empower you to evolve from a passive victim to a responsible co-creator of your life. Dr. Shamani is going to go through and talk all about psychoneuroimmunology and do some experiential exercises
Yes.
as well. So it's really going to be a powerful experience. The four of them, the four teachers came to me several months ago and asked me if I would put this. I mean, what an honor, right? To have these four powerful light workers and healers and world-renowned luminaries come to me and say, hey, we'd like for you to put something together. And so here we have this amazing retreat, Open Hearts, Resilient Spirit. So if you're interested, go ahead and go to that link, and I'll post it in the comments as well. But let's continue with our conversation. And if any of you have any questions, go ahead and put it in the comments. Barb, I see you. James, so wonderful of you to join us, and Jackie Marie. So go ahead and
Yeah, and Liz, I just wanted to say, how pleased we are to be working with you on this, and what an honor, obviously, it is for me to be working with such incredible leaders and teachers in the space. We've done this once before, as you know, in Sedona about a year and a half ago, and it was so incredible. And we received such amazing feedback from participants about it being a life-changing experience for them that, as you can imagine, it's been really hard for the four of us to get our schedules together. We're all incredibly busy. And I want to thank you for your persistence in getting us to land a date and time for this. We're all so excited about it. And what I love about this, I mean, Liz, you know, as Bruce and Anita and Greg, I do a lot of events and speak at a lot of conferences and things like that. And we've come together to do this event because we enjoy each other, first of all, so much, and we feel so much synergy and confluence. So it's not like a typical conference where you go and you hear a keynote and then somebody else flies in the next day and they do theirs. We're actually hanging out, listening to each other and kind of picking up where each person has left off. So it's a continuous learning journey. And you know, obviously we prepare, but a lot of it is also spontaneous. We're fed by the energy and the questions in the room. And it's a really beautiful opportunity for us to come together in this way, in a real retreat setting, not just to talking at you, but let's practice together. Let's explore together. Let's evolve together. So I'm just so thrilled that we've been able to pull this together to do it again. And
I'm so excited. And what I love is that each teacher is going to do some experiential processes. So we all get to walk away, present company included. I'm doing this because I wanted to attend this retreat. So let's be real here. So, and you'll all be doing experiential exercises. So we all get to walk away with things to take home with us to do in our daily practice. And I mean, let's face it, it is such a wonderful respite to take time out of your everyday life to come together in Soul Tribe community. I mean, I've been doing this 28 years and there's just nothing like it.
Yeah, it's true.
It's true. So let's get back to what you were discussing before about how we can, so breathing is one way, and then walking in the earth is another way that we can start to ground ourselves, take that stress level out of our bodies and the inflammation. Do you have any other tips or suggestions?
Yeah, let's talk very specifically about anxiety and stress, because I think that's usually the way things are coming out in terms of a lot of us feeling off balance with everything going on in the world. And I want to name these things, right? Violence happening in our communities, violence may be happening right here at home, in the country we live, but also in countries that are near and dear to our hearts across the globe. Witnessing this sense of, fallacy of separation and the hatred that it can bring at times is really tough on us. It's tough emotionally. So depression is there, anxiety is there, stress, and sometimes powerlessness. Now, the problem with that is it's not wrong to feel those things. And I want to honor those feelings. We want to honor all feelings. We just don't want to get stuck in a ruminative cycle. So if we are continuously being fed by bad news and nothing else, it feeds the ruminative cycle. I want to talk a little bit about that and help people understand why this is not a good thing. Okay, of course it doesn't feel good, so we know that.
Right.
Why is it so important for us, for our health, to make sure that we do things to interrupt that cycle? And we'll talk about how. When we engage in a ruminative cycle, again, we talked about this a little last time, chewing our cud, thinking the same thoughts over and over again, saying to ourselves, there's nothing I can do. I don't know how to fix this. I feel like I need to fix it, right? Let's be realistic. Unfortunately, none of us individually are in a place where we can immediately go and fix a problem at the size that we're seeing it right now.
And we scroll and scroll and scroll on our phones and we're staring.
The tension, the body holds tension, the powerlessness, that affects us epigenetically. It will affect the expression of our proteins to create more inflammation in the body, which makes us feel more tired, which makes us hold water, not digest our food as well. So we literally feel toxic, right? And we don't want that. So what do we want to do? We don't want to bypass and pretend like it's not happening, because that's not helpful either. We all need to do something. We just got to do it collectively is really the answer. So when we ground and we clear, first of all, we can get a little bit more into our true emotional state. We're clearing the stagnant emotions and the anxiety that comes often first. Sometimes it may not come, right? Because what is important here is emotions, as we know, are like water. They're continuously flowing. So we don't have to keep drinking from the same fountain. Think of a waterfall. Like there's so many places that water flows that if you really analyze a waterfall, there are all these microcurrents happening at the same time. And that's you. You're literally flowing constantly. So you want to be in that flow. So first we release an energy and we release emotions, using these breath work, long exhales, releasing sounds. And then we want to bring ourselves a little bit more into balance and open and receive support. So here's where we begin to place greater awareness on the heart center, which is our big connective center. The heart chakra, both the front and the back of the heart, and now we're moving more into spiritual and energetic esoteric territory, which as a student of Reverend Rosalind Briere, a master healer, she's taught me everything I know about the chakras on an experiential level, really, as well as, of course, my deep roots in the Vedic and Tantric traditions and Jan traditions. The heart allows us to deepen our connection and sense of support. And this is really important because on the spiritual level, the spirits are very much here to guide and support us. So once we release our holding of emotions, it's easier to come into contact with that support through the heart. And so let's just do a really quick practice to really feel into that, okay? Allowing ourselves to, again, feel our feet on the ground if we're sitting, standing, whatever. Get into a place where you can feel your feet rooted. Even if you're wearing shoes, it's fine. Take a nice deep breath. And just allow the breath to touch into the heart center. Feeling the lungs expand as you breathe in. And relax as you breathe out. And you can make some sounds and some nice exhales again. And notice how this connects actually with your lower body. So while you're connecting with the heart, you're also still very much present in the lower body, feeling the energy here. All the way in. And with this sense of groundedness, an opening in the front and the back of the heart. So feeling around the center of the chest, the front area of the center and chest, and the back of your chest. Breathing here. And just letting the shoulders relax. Letting your arms rest in your lap. Just resting. Breathing in the heart and breathing out of the heart. And now placing your awareness on the back of that heart area. Invite any spiritual support. This could be your guides, your ancestors, angels, the divine, animals. Invite them to come and be here with you now. And feel their presence. Feel the presence, allow any emotions or any feelings to just come. No need to hold anything. Notice a shift in the vibration, or perhaps a feeling of greater support. That the spiritual realm literally has your back to support you. And allow this loving energy to fully fill your body, touching your heart, of course, but your entire being, traveling up the body, through the head. And allow yourself to just release anything you've been holding, worries, questions about what to do, ideas of how to fix it. Let yourself move into a state of surrender. You may even feel that surrender energy allowing for a release through the top of the head, out the crown chakra, connecting you even more with the spiritual realm, while still very much in the body. And just rest in this awareness for a few more moments. Giving thanks to any spirit beings that have come to support you, thanking them for their presence and their love. Give yourself thanks for engaging in a brief practice to nourish your being. And when you're ready, if you've had your eyes closed, you can open them.
Wow. Here we go again.
Just a few minutes, right? Well, it's yeah, please take time. It's about giving ourselves time, honoring the feelings, inviting support, and surrendering. Okay, this is part of the co-creative process. It's about emotional management, and you know how that. But it's beyond that. Really, it's about stepping into our full selves. Because our full selves aren't just limited or ruled by our emotions. The emotions are just information, and they're important information. And we can learn how to alchemize all the energy behind it. But a lot of that, Liz, you know, it's hard because when we see all the suffering and we feel locked, we have to free ourselves into remembering that we are even more than this on an individual and collective level. And so doing these practices is a great way to remember.
Right.
And, you know, a lot of it, and I talk about this in my book, is setting up our healing ritual, you know, so that we invite for the time and space to do these things. And you can make this practice your own. You know, I just led us through a brief practice. And in my book, I talk about all the steps that you can take, you know, with sounding an invocation, grounding into the body, setting intention. You can make this as formal or informal as you want. You can literally make this just a moment of grounding, breathing, opening, and surrendering.
Mm. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I mean, and this isn't taking, one of the things that that I hear a lot is, oh, it takes so much time. It takes so much time. And yes, sometimes it does take time to love and ourselves and do self-care to bring ourselves into a state of peace and connectedness and centeredness. And for me, I feel an immediate shift. I mean, it was so beautiful calling in our ancestors,
Mm-hmm.
calling in. I haven't thought about doing this, but calling in my grandparents and my mom and Mishka, who was our family dog. We named the company after her, Mishka Production. So calling in all of those, beautiful beams of light that are no longer in the physical, to call and have them come and support and be together. It's really beautiful. This was really exquisite. Thank you.
Oh, I'm so
much.
pleased. It's so powerful for all of us to just come into community practice once in a while together. It's great.
Yeah. All right, everyone. On that note, we are doing a fantastic retreat with Dr. Shamani, with Greg Braden, Bruce Lipton, and Anita Morjani. And I'm just going to show this to you one more time. And this is what we'll be doing in January. And if you loved this experience, you want more of it, you want to be connected to a soul tribe community, to supportive people that really, really resonate with you, come join us. It's going to be a fantastic program. And as Dr. Shamani said before, trying to get all four of them together, that was quite a feat of magic that we did here. It definitely was. It's taking place in January, so there's plenty of time to make travel plans, financial plans, plans in your schedule. I'll go ahead and post the link one more time so you can just click right on it. And suddenly I can't type. What did you do? I have to get into that mind. But do please come join us. It's really going to be an exquisite experience. And I know each one of them are bringing to the table something so powerful, so different. And what I love during this retreat is that the four of them have come together. The four luminaries have come together to create this program, and they'll be doing tons of panel discussions. So you'll get to bring things to the table and ask questions and really have a more intimate dialogue. So, all right, everyone.
I just wanted to say that the aura around you is so beautiful right now. I can literally see light beams around you, and it's beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. You helped me do that. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for being with us. And Dr. Shamani, thank you so much for joining us. I'm so grateful that you were able to take the time out today and be with us. And stay tuned for more Facebook Lives. I think I've got Anita Morjani coming up in a couple of weeks. So come and join us. All right, everyone.
Bye,
Have a
everybody.
beautiful Thursday.
Bye.